Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Job Breakdown. Today we're taking a look at the Monk, the last of the melee DPSs. The Monk has some pretty interesting utility to it, while also having some really good damage, and is quite a bit of fun to play in my opinion. It has the basic combo as you can see there, as well as the second combo, both of which are directional combos, so you will have to try and manage that. Your main combo from behind, including Bootshine giving an auto crit if you attack from behind. Your secondary combo from the flanks. The main combo ends with Demolish and allows you to leave a dot on your target. The secondary combo, the flanking combo, begins with a debuff to physical or blunt. Unfortunately, that only applies to monks, but if you have more than one monk in the party, they can't take advantage of it. Where the monk really shines as compared to a lot of the other DPSs is that you can switch up combos. You don't have to do them in the straight order. You could do them in whatever order you wanted, as long as you're following the forms. So you have the three basic forms that monk is able to go through, and by using those, you can use any combination of the three. You also have a Twin Snakes buff, which gives you more damage, and as you can see, as long as you are keeping the fighting stances and rolling through them, you will continue to generate stacks of Grease Lightning, which can be burned to use a Tornado Kick, doing quite a bit of damage and looking very cool. You have a couple of nice OGCD abilities in the form of Elixir Field, you have Steel Peak, and you have your Shoulder Tackle as well. Shoulder Tackle and Steel Peak are both stuns. You can use those to be able to stun quickly. You also have One Ilm Punch to be able to stun, though honestly, we don't use it that often, and it's not super great. It can stun attacks that other moves can't stun, which is pretty interesting. For AoE, you also have Howling Fist. You also, of course, still have Elixir Field, both of which do some nice AoE. You also have the ability to open up your chakra by using the Meditation command. We're about to drop our Grease Lightning stacks here, which is something you never want to do. We'll get into why in just a minute. As you open up your chakras, you'll gain access to the Forbidden Chakra, which does quite a bit of damage. At level 70, you get access to Brotherhood. When using Brotherhood, if you have other DPS around you that are, or tanks, I suppose, that are doing their combos, you can gain stacks of chakra as well. This also works for you, so as long as Brotherhood is up, you can build your own stacks of chakra without having to meditate, which is pretty handy. Where Monk really shines, in my opinion, is stacking up that damage, being able to just hammer home some powerful attacks while also having some pretty good maneuverability, having the ability to shift using tackles and things like that, and just keeping up the Grease Lightning stacks to be able to give yourself a little bit of faster combat, because it does increase your GCDs as well, which is very nice. Monk has some other interesting features as well, though. You can burn your chakras to be able to use Purification. If you use Purification, you can restore a bunch of TP. You also lose all your chakra when you do it, but it also affects like a diversion, so you can drop your immunity to half too. So if you are taking immunity off the tank, you can use Purification to be able to get rid of that as well. You can use Perfect Balance to be able to use whichever of the combo moves you want to use, regardless of form, which allows you to quickly build back up your Grease Lightning and be able to get in a Tornado Kick. You can also Form Shift to be able to automatically go into your next form, which is very nice. From there, you have your other AoEs. You have your AoE combo, which is Arm of the Destroyer. And then you go into an irregular attack, and then you can use Rock Breaker, which is not too bad at all. And then, of course, the previous AoE that we discussed. You also have three stances. Fist of Earth, which makes you take less damage. Fist of Wind, that lets you be faster. And Fist of Fire. Most people will normally have on Fist of Fire when fighting because it gives you 6% more damage, which is always a fun thing to have. It also changes your tackle. So with Fist of Fire on, you will do a stun effect on your tackle, and you will do 130 potency with it. With Fist of Wind on, you will do a 65 potency attack that also has the stun effect, but grants Riddle of Wind, which gives you some other options. We'll get into that in just a minute when it's done refreshing. And with Fist of Earth on, you get Earth Tackle, which gives you a knockback and a potency of 100. The tackles are pretty interesting, I think. They're not all as useful as they might seem. Knockbacks are almost worthless in most boss fights, but there are situations where a knockback could be useful, so it's something to have at least. With Riddle of Wind now, we are able to execute Riddle of Wind here, which is a pretty potent little attack. It's not too terrible at all. Most of the time, though, you're still going to want to go with Riddle of Fire. And Riddle of Fire is a move right here. Increases your damage by 30%, while increasing your recast time on your weapon skills by 15%. It will slow your monk down at the cost of doing more damage. Now, if you've been following along, you'll realize that Grease Lightning allows you to get your GCDs back up faster again. They're not as fast as if you didn't have Riddle of Fire on, but you were doing quite a bit more damage. So as long as you're able to balance that, you can still continue to weave in your damage by keeping your Grease Lightning stacks up while not having to worry too much about the loss of speed. It's still there, and it's still noticeable, but it's not too terrible at all. Another effect of when you use Riddle of Fire is it activates Fist of Fire if you didn't already have it active, which is very nice. Allows you to get in a shift without having to use an extra GCD. Now you use Riddle of Earth, which will put you back into Fist of Earth. Riddle of Earth will increase your Grease Lightning, and will also reduce damage taken, of course, because of Fist of Earth. It's pretty solid, and lets you use the knockback again. Not too bad at all. For cross-roll abilities, you're going to want to bring Internal Release, give yourself more crit. You're going to want to bring Bloodbath to be able to recover your HP faster. True North is not too bad at all, because a lot of your stuff is directional dependent. Invigorate to give you more TP. Then you have Diversion, of course, to be able to keep the enemy off of you. Then you have Mantra, which is monk specific, and allows you to increase recovery for your team. This is the usability that monk has on top of the damage. It's not as great as other classes. Ninja, for instance, is still way more useful in raid than a monk, but Mantra is not bad at all. 20% extra healing for everybody around you is pretty solid, and monk brings a lot of stuns, so it does have some utility as well. We're going to show off here Riddle of Wind real quick. Basically just gives you extra Grease Lightning as well, does some good damage, does another stun. Not too bad at all. Again, most of the time, you're going to default to Riddle of Fire. You're going to stack up the Grease Lightning stacks here so that you're doing as fast as you can, as much damage as you can, and you're just going to go ham on your enemy as much as possible. And that's really what monk shines with. Doing damage, getting in there, hurting the enemy, killing them before they can really do too much damage to the team. And if it's a boss fight, then it's sustained damage, sustained stuns. Whenever the boss is not around, you can take a second to get another chakra and be able to get some good damage in. But what am I looking for with monk? The one thing I think monk really lacks right now is a ranged attack of any kind. The closest one is Elixir Field. Still not great. It's not ranged at all, really. I would like to see a move that lets monk hit things from a distance, maybe an Elixir Field that's a little bit more like a Hadouken, something like that. But all told, I think monk's in a really good place, and I like it quite a bit. With all that said, though, I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that monk has to offer.